Welcome to the Red Pill Podcast, powered by AgencyX.net. Explore AI-driven creativity, groundbreaking innovations, and industry insights, all in one game-changing podcast. Enjoy.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into a topic that's, well, it's really reshaping industries right now, sparking a lot of debate, and honestly, for many creators, causing some real anxiety. We're talking about the huge shift happening in creative fields. Think design, video, music, all driven by AI.
And our focus today, it's specifically on one particular viewpoint. We're drawing from a source article called The Brutal Truth. And it really doesn't pull any punches. It gives a pretty stark look at the sheer efficiency AI is bringing.
That's right. So our goal in this deep dive is really to get inside this article's perspective. What does The Brutal Truth actually argue about how AI is changing creative jobs?
Yeah, what skills does it say will matter?
Exactly. And based just on its analysis, what does the near future look like? According to them, anyway.
We're basically putting this one article under the microscope, exploring what the author calls the brutal efficiencies that AI is introducing across those creative areas you just mentioned.
So brutal. That's a strong word. The source isn't just saying AI makes things faster. Why brutal?
Well, the article argues it's because of the speed, yes, but also the cost effectiveness and the incredible scalability it enables.
Right. And the core argument, right up top in the piece, is that these factors are pushing many human creators towards, well, it uses the word obsolescence if they don't adapt.
It frames it as a massive disruption, not just a slow change, you know? The intensity of these efficiency gains is really key to its whole argument.
Okay, let's jump into the first area the article really focuses on, AI image generation. It points to tools most people have heard of by now, like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E3.
Yeah, the big ones.
And the claim here is pretty bold. These tools have, and this is their word, decimated the demand for certain kinds of illustration and stock photography.
And the article explains why it uses language like decimated. It talks about what it calls brutal efficiency. Just think about the speed difference it highlights.
Right.
A human creating a complex, polished image that could take hours, maybe days. AI, the article says, can often do it in under a minute.
Under a minute. That's wow. And the cost thing the article brings up is huge too. Essentially near zero marginal cost, right? Once the AI is trained.
Exactly. No salaries, no fees, no royalties in the traditional sense. It contrasts that directly with paying a human creator.
So speed, cost, what else?
Customization. The piece really stresses how easy it is to get specific things. It uses that example, needing an image of a cyberpunk cat wearing a leather jacket.
Oh, yeah, remember that one.
The article says that's trivial for AI, generated instantly. It bypasses the whole process of briefing and paying a human illustrator for that specific, maybe one-off need.
That example really drives home the shift the article sees. So based on this source, what's the impact? What about jobs?
Well, it argues that stock photographers, concept artists, illustrators, they're feeling the squeeze now, especially for commercial art, advertising, branding, basic digital content. It sees that shifting very rapidly to AI-driven workflows.
So it's not necessarily the high-end fine art, but the everyday commercial stuff.
That seems to be the immediate focus, yes. And the critical point the article makes about surviving this shift, it says the creators who thrive won't be the ones trying to compete against AI on speed or cost.
But the ones who learn to use it.
Exactly. Those who integrate AI into their process. That's the key takeaway for image creators, according to this source.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to the next area this article tackles, AI video generation. The source points out this field is catching up incredibly fast, mentions tools like Runway ML, Pico Labs, and, of course, Sora.
Yeah, Sora made huge waves. Here, the brutal efficiency is described more through automation. The article talks about AI automating editing tasks, cutting footage, splicing scenes, even generating B-roll, stuff that took a lot of human time before.
And it gets into some wilder capabilities too, right? Like deep fakes and lip syncing.
Oh, absolutely. It describes AI being able to seamlessly dub actors into different languages, or even, and this is the part the article calls out as a bit chilling, resurrect dead performers for new content.
Wow, okay, that's a lot. What about animation?
The article mentions that too, traditional frame-by-frame animation. It says that's increasingly being, well, not maybe replaced entirely yet, but heavily augmented by AI-assisted workflows, speeding up production dramatically.
So again, speed and automation are the themes. What does the source predict this means for jobs in the video world?
It suggests pretty directly reduced demand for certain roles, junior animators, maybe basic video editors, some VFX artists doing more routine tasks.
And where does it see AI video taking hold first?
It predicts that low-budget productions, think online ads, corporate videos, maybe explainer content, will become heavily reliant on AI. High-end filmmaking, big movies. They'll still need human oversight, directors, key creatives.
But maybe smaller crews.
That's the suggestion. Fewer people needed on set or in post-production because AI handles more of the legwork, consolidating roles, basically.
Okay. Image, video. The third creative field this article zeroes in on is AI music and sound generation. It mentions tools like Udio, Suno, Jukebox for music, and 11 Labs for voice synthesis.
Right. And the brutal efficiency here is kind of staggering when you think about it. It's about instant creation. The source says you can generate original music tracks in almost any style you want.
Like specific style?
Yeah, it gives examples like, make me a 90s hip-hop track, or I need a big cinematic orchestral score. And it says AI can generate something usable in seconds.
Seconds. Not hours, not days, seconds. And the voice generation. That sounded disruptive, too.
Very. The article talks about tools that can mimic any artist's voice. And it asks that really pointed question. Why hire a session singer for, say, a jingle or background vocals when AI can potentially replicate a desired vocal style instantly?
That is hard for session musicians.
Instantly. And it also touches on sound design, suggesting that procedural audio generation AI creating sound effects could reduce or even eliminate the need for traditional Foley artists for certain kinds of projects, like games or simpler animations.
So looking at the job impact in music and sound, who does the source see as most at risk?
It specifically calls out session musicians, jingle writers, composers doing background music or library tracks, that kind of functional music.
And voice actors.
Yeah, it suggests podcasters, indie game developers, people needing basic voiceovers might increasingly turn to AI instead of hiring human actors, mainly for cost and speed.
But presumably, the big star musicians are fine.
The article suggests the top-tier unique artists, the ones with established fan bases and distinct creative visions, will likely survive. But it predicts the mid-tier market, the working musicians, the functional composers, the standard voice actors, that whole segment could shrink significantly. It really seems to be a consistent pattern the article identifies across all three areas. AI takes over the more repeatable, high-volume, maybe less bespoke creative tasks, and that puts the pressure squarely on the middle and lower ends of the creative workforce.
Right. Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. What does the article predict for the near future for creators, pulling all these threads together?
Well, its overall prediction is pretty blunt, really. It says AI probably won't eliminate all creative jobs, but, and this is the key phrase, it will drastically reduce the number needed.
Drastically reduce.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does it see that playing out?
That reduction, the piece argues, leads to a few major shifts. First, it predicts a mass consolidation of entry-level roles. A lot of the sort of grunt work gets automated.
So how do people survive that, according to the article?
Survival, from this viewpoint, means becoming skilled at, quote, directing AI effectively. Not just doing the task, but guiding the tool.
Ah, so the nature of human creativity itself changes then.
Exactly. The article talks about the rise of the AI art director, a role where the human value shifts away from the technical execution, the drawing, the editing, the composing, and more towards higher-level curation.
You mean?
Meaning guiding the AI with clever prompts, refining the outputs, selecting the best options, and maybe adding that final layer of polish, that human touch the AI, can't quite replicate yet.
Okay, what else does it foresee?
Well, a direct result of all this is an expected explosion of synthetic media. It paints a picture of AI influencers becoming common, maybe even entirely AI-generated movies or shows for certain niches, and synthetic music hits dominating the low to mid-tier content landscape.
Like background music for videos, stuff like that.
Yeah, or soundtracks for games, corporate content, stuff where good enough and instant availability beats bespoke human creation.
But this won't all be smooth sailing, surely.
Oh, definitely not. The article anticipates a lot of friction, big legal and ethical battles. It specifically mentions copyright wars, huge fights over the data used to train these AIs.
Oh, the training data issue is massive.
And it also floats the idea of potential future regulations, like maybe requiring labels for human-made versus AI-generated creative works.
Interesting. Does it see any area where human craft remains dominant?
It does suggest that truly niche, high-end human craft will likely survive, but maybe more as a premium offering, high-end fine art, bespoke musical commissions for major artists, very distinct auteur filmmaking.
things where the individual human vision is the main selling point.
Exactly. But the article implies the market for even that might become smaller, more exclusive, more of a luxury good, perhaps.
Okay, so pulling it all together, this article's conclusion.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty stark.
It is. It argues that AI's efficiency in creative fields is, well, ruthless. That's the word it keeps coming back to. And it makes this point. AI doesn't hate artists. It's not malicious. It just doesn't need them in the same numbers anymore because its capabilities are becoming so powerful, so fast, and so cheap.
And the message for creators reading this article?
It's incredibly direct. Adapt or perish. The jobs that remain, it argues forcefully, will belong to those who learn to harness AI as a collaborator, not those who try to fight it or ignore it.
Wow. Adapt or perish. And its final statement about creativity itself.
Perhaps the most provocative line in the whole piece. The golden age of human-only creativity is over.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's the uncompromising perspective laid out in The Brutal Truth.
Which really leaves you, the listener, with the final thought this article wants you to grapple with. The next era, it claims, belongs to those who can merge human ingenuity with machine efficiency.
Before the machines learn to do even that without us.
A challenging thought to end on. That concludes this deep dive.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Red Pill Podcast. If you enjoyed diving deep into the future of AI and media, make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned. Bigger insights, bolder ideas, and game-changing discussions are coming your way. Sponsored by agencyx.net.